Sometimes we encounter something so unusual, so unimaginable,
What is that?
that we find it hard to embrace its very existence. An idea that takes our breath away and forces us to look at the world in a whole new light. Over the past 5 years, we have been searching for people that celebrate the mysteries of the unknown. Individuals and companies that are inspired by discovery, who will fight to be recognized, unafraid of the possibilities that innovation may bring. Our mission, the revelation of new ideas and those that make them reality. We don't conceal their existence, we reward it. The Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce presents our 5th annual celebration of innovation in business, the 1999 Cutting Edge Awards.
Yes, we're gonna have a wing.
From 60 applicants, these 14 extraordinary companies were chosen to be honored as Cutting Edge finalists, according to the award criteria. Each of these companies has demonstrated exceptional growth rate in revenues, the incorporation of niche marketing as a means of success, a strong, decisive management team with dedicated owners, empowerment of associates to deliver excellence, the demonstration of innovation within their industry. Among this impressive group of cutting-edge finalists, 3 were chosen that stood out as exceptional. The Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce presents the top-ranking finalists for the 1999 Cutting Edge Awards. Ah, the travel industry. The business of doing pleasure. At least that's what it should be. But anyone who's booked a cruise, a rental car, or a flight knows that going from this to this can be a challenge. This kind of scenario was the catalyst for Tavel Services International.
The idea specifically, it came about by one of our founding partners flying across the Atlantic and sitting next to someone and hearing how much less the other person had paid for his seat. And how did you do this, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And being the business person that he is, he came back and said, I think there's an interesting business in consolidating consolidators.
So in 1996, Tavel Services International set about putting together a group of select companies, each leaders in their particular niche. In just 3 years, this organization, now known as the Travel Company, is dominating the marketplace.
The idea was to create a synergistic grouping of travel specialists, not specifically travel agents, but specialists who deal in any one segment of travel. The cruise segment, the air segment, the hotel segment, etc.
From the start, the founders of the Travel Company knew a seasoned professional at the helm was essential in accomplishing their goals aggressively. That's what they got with Joseph Vittoria, former chairman of Avis.
I had just retired as chairman of Avis, and I was brought in to put it all together and take it public. We own 23 companies in all now. We now represent basically all 4 segments of travel, that is cruise, air, car, and hotel. We also distribute through 4 different distribution systems, travel agents, call centers, the web, as we're now getting into, and home-based agents. Then you add in the technology applications, which are now being put into play. So we've managed to position ourselves for the future.
The technology of which he speaks is a new state-of-the-art computer-based system that streamlines the entire reservation and ticketing process for air and cruise travel.
Over 3 years, ending in the year 2000, we'll have invested over $20 million in this technology. And for a small company, that's a very significant investment. But it's clearly what is going to define the difference in the industry.
Although the Travel Company is making its mark in all areas of leisure travel, they see the cruising industry as having the greatest potential. The Travel Company's new system dramatically reduces the average 15 calls needed to complete a cruise purchase, allowing the reservationist to focus more on customer service and less on the mechanics of the sale. This technology is certain to revolutionize the industry.
You have to remember, I think only 8% of the U.S. population has ever taken a cruise. Last year, that was 5 million people. So the opportunity out there is large, and we've locked up that booking business.
Far more than simply a stable of successful companies, the travel company is elevating the standards of the industry, and in the end, it's the traveling public that benefits most.
Travel is going to change. The internet's changing it, how you deal with the customer is changing, and all of these things mean you cannot continue to do business as you did in the past.
The Travel Company, experts in the business of travel. The Cutting Edge Awards gratefully acknowledges our gold-level sponsors: Grant Thornton LLP, the Miami Herald, El Nuevo Herald, and OmniPoint. It's not unusual to find a Cinderella story behind the success of a company, but few have a story as intriguing as Omega Research, a leading provider of real-time investment analysis software for individual and institutional investors worldwide.
Well, our background is sort of unusual to be in this business. My brother and I are both violinists, and what happened was when he was 16, he became obsessed with market analysis and with the market, stock market, futures markets. And the day he turned 18, he talked me into opening up a trading account with him to trade futures, believe it or not. And we opened it up with around $2,500, which was pretty much our life savings at the time. And within 2 weeks, we managed to lose every penny we had in the account. Ironically, it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to us.
Apparently so, because now their Miami-based company is a publicly traded corporation with close to 200 employees and more than 50,000 customers. How did it happen?
Bill had the idea to ask a very simple question: what if we could use the power of a PC to historically backtest investment strategies before you risk money on them? So basically that's what we did. We started developing software applications that allow investors to historically backtest their ideas, and we've been in effect doing that for the last 14 years.
As they forged ahead with the business, their ability to make the right decisions has been the key to success. The first critical decision, a risky commitment to base their analysis software on a then unknown, newly released operating system called Microsoft Windows. And from the success of Windows, they learned a vital lesson, which led to their next critical decision.
We try to learn a lot from the success of other people, and we looked at Microsoft and at Windows, and we said, you know, what makes Windows so valuable is not just Windows, but the fact there's so many companies developing applications for it. So what we did is we not only develop applications by ourselves, but we develop applications that are used as platforms for other applications as well.
These are just a sampling of the hundreds of pioneering milestones that make Omega Research a leader in the investment and trading industry. Their offerings include an amazing array of investing tools, each with its own award-winning capabilities.
Each one does something slightly different. TradeStation is for the backtesting of ideas. OptionStation is again a different product, and there we looked at the market and we said, people love the fact that options gives you leverage gain and predetermined risk. The problem with options is it can be very, very complicated, so you have to be a mathematician to really take advantage of some of the strategies. So what we did is we created a product that allowed an investor to input their assumption. Based on that assumption, what is the most favorable risk-reward option strategy currently available to me? What OptionStation does is look at thousands of possibilities and bring up a list of the 50 most favorable risk-reward strategies available based on that market assumption.
For Omega Research, the future looks bright. They have a licensing agreement with Bridge Information Systems, formerly Dow Jones Markets Incorporated, to distribute their product TradeStation until 2002. This will provide close to $25 million in royalty payments. And with the broadening of instantaneous global data communication via the Internet, they anticipate a significant increase in international sales, from 10% today to at least 50% over the next 5 years.
In business, it's more important to be different than it is to be better, because to a certain extent, we compete with giants. And the way we survive is by staying between their toes when they're walking. So we never go after a market that's an established market, because if it's established, that means someone already dominates that market. And more likely than not, it's a very big company that dominates the market. So what we try to do is we try to create new markets as we go along and try to dominate those markets before the bigger players even know the markets exist. And we've been doing that over a period of years, and it's been very, very successful.
Omega Research, turning an idea into an industry. Helping to make this event possible, our silver level sponsors: Miami International Mall, Radio Shack, and Thomas W. Ruff and Company. Most of us probably have never heard of the Staggers Rail Act, nor would we view a company within this industry as cutting edge. But the deregulation of railroads in 1980 opened a door of surprising opportunity for RailAmerica, a company that has brought new life to a very old industry.
Up until 1980, the rail industry in this country was, in essence, bankrupt. Railroads in this country were started about 150 years ago, and they were doing quite well. And then the interstate highway system was built, and you had trucking companies starting to compete with the railroads. So in the 60s and 70s and the early 80s, the trucking company industry had taken over a lot of the business that the railroads had, and it was a dying industry.
RailAmerica provides a critical service to businesses all across our country. They now own and operate thousands of miles of short-line freight railroads that the major Class 1 railroad operators were ready to cast off as unprofitable. RailAmerica works closely with these major lines, operating as a feeder service to smaller communities that previously had to truck their products at a far greater expense.
One of the things that we do is when we take over a rail line, we run it very efficiently. We reduce the expenses to only the necessary expenses. We grow the revenue side by encouraging people to ship by rail. So we are linking shippers, producers, manufacturers with world markets.
And this practice has been hugely successful. This public company, headquartered in Boca Raton, has grown enormously. The cumulative average growth rate from 1994 to 1998 topped 50% in each of these categories. And now, with profits consistently soaring, they are recognized as a world leader in this industry.
We've gained an international reputation as a very qualified, capable rail operator, and we've been solicited by a number of countries around the world to take over their national rail systems. We did one such transaction about 2 years ago in South America, in the country of Chile, and we took over a 1,400-mile long railroad that was owned by the Chilean government that had lost money under Chilean government ownership for a number of years in substantial proportions. And we've turned the thing around dramatically, and we're making record profits, for that railroad now.
RailAmerica has created a very profitable niche in an industry that most viewed as a dinosaur. They have an unwavering commitment toward safety, efficiency, and quality, investing more maintenance dollars per mile than almost any of their competitors. And now, with more than 1,000 employees internationally and 6,000 miles of track in 4 countries, RailAmerica is barreling toward new heights.
I'm excited by what we do. We're building something here. We started this company in 1986. We had 0 revenues, we had no employees, we had no capital, we had no business. And we've gone from 0 13, 14 years ago to a company that this year will do probably close to $200 million in revenues. So it's a challenge, and it's fun building an operation that didn't exist before. And we've created a transformation in the industry, if you will.
RailAmerica, enjoying the fast track of success. The Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce wishes to thank Nova Southeastern University School of Business and Entrepreneurship, Bank Atlantic, and all of our cutting-edge sponsors. And now, the 1999 Cutting Edge Awards.